So thank you guys for joining us for the Achievement Award overview session this evening from South Carolina Farm Bureau Young Farmers and Ranchers program. We are excited to tell you more about this really awesome competition and awesome opportunity for young farmers in the state of South Carolina. I'm going to give you an overview of the nuts and bolts of the competition. What is it? Who is it for? How do you apply? All of that. We'll even show you how to access the online portal to do your application. And then we'll hear from this year's Achievement Award winner, and we'll get some insight from a young farmer who is who has been a competitor and a winner of this competition. So the way we're going to start out is by going to our website. So this is something that you can see now and then do on your own at a later time. But you can go to scfb.org, and when you get to the website, what you want to do is hover over the Outreach and Leadership tab, and then select YF&R Contest under Young Farmers and Ranchers. When you get to this page, this has our awards and competitions in here, and you will select the top one, which is for the Achievement Award. This page will give you all of the information you need, and everything that I'm going to show you tonight is available to you on this page. So for starters, who is this competition for? Competition is for individuals or married couples who are actively engaged in farming or ranching, with the majority of your income coming from production agriculture. So that is the criteria. If you are a young farmer or rancher, that is, you can be single or married, actively engaged in farming, and the majority of your income comes from production agriculture, then this is the competition for you. The Achievement Award acknowledges success in agricultural production and leadership achievement. Competitors are judged on the growth and financial progress of their farm or ranch, as well as their Farm Bureau and community leadership. And in just a minute, we're going to go through every single part of the application so you can see what's on the application and what is being judged. Now, this is an incredible competition. It's an incredible award. And we have some incredible prizes to recognize it. Whenever you apply for this competition, if you are considered a finalist, which means that you would be in the top 3 applicants for that year, then you win $1,000 just for applying. As long as you are eligible, you have applied with an eligible application and you're an eligible candidate. And there are many years that we have, 3 applicants sometimes. So being a finalist is something that is very achievable in this state, and you win $1,000 for submitting an eligible, well filled out application. Now, if you are deemed the winner, then you win $33,750 towards the purchase of a new Ford truck of your choice, compliments of Southern Farm Bureau Casualty Insurance Company. So we are very thankful for a partnership with Southern Farm Bureau Casualty Insurance Company that affords us the opportunity to offer you such an incredible award. Now, in addition to the truck, there are other opportunities depending on the status of the events that competitors have, or winners rather, have an opportunity for. One is the American Farm Bureau Fusion Conference, or every other year, that is the YF&R Leadership Conference hosted by AFBF. And the other is the American Farm Bureau Annual Convention. So these events move all around the country. And of course, during COVID, the events have changed a little bit as well. Now, one of the cool things about being the winner, and I'll show you a little bit more about this in a minute, is that if you win, you are then also representing the state in a national competition. So that's really exciting because you get to do something that is with young farmers from all over the country, not just young farmers from your state. So let's take a look at what you need to know about applying for this competition. We'll start out with the Achievement Award Eligibility and Guidelines document. So this document is available to you online, and of course you can also download it and print it, save it, whatever you would like to do. I'm not going to go over, don't worry, I'm not going to go over all of this in detail, but I am going to point out a few things that are typically of interest to people right off the bat. The first is this line here that says the applicant shall not turn 36 before January 31st, 2022. This is your age eligibility for this competition. So you need to think about your birthday, think about when you turn 36, and as long as you haven't turned 36 by January 31st, 2022, then you're eligible to compete. And the same would go for each year in sequence for 2023, 2024, and so on and so forth. And then you can determine when will you no longer be age eligible. And that is a very important piece of this puzzle, because we wouldn't want you to wait too long to apply and then no longer be eligible because of your age. Now, under the agreement section, what I want to point out is that actually there's an update that's going to be made to this document, but what happens in, you know what, give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up for you a different document so that you can see the accurate information. Okay, there we go. So under the agreement section, you'll see that if you are a finalist in this competition, that means that you will host an on-farm visit from judges in the beginning of December. Now, the same judges that judge the applications participate in an on-farm visit. And the on-farm visit is to see and touch and be able to experience what they have read in the application. It's also a great time for judges to ask any clarifying questions about what they read in the application. If there's something that was a gray area for them or that they didn't understand very well, they have the opportunity to talk to the applicant about that. Now, if you are deemed the winner, then you compete in the AFBF Achievement Award competition, and that consists of an application also at the national level, and we model our application off of AFBF, so they're very similar, and you submit that before the deadline in 2021. Then you would attend the 2022 AFBF convention or participate representing the state of South Carolina in the National AFBF Achievement Award competition. And the top 10 finalists at the national level have an interview with judges during that competition. Now let's scroll down to the entry form and guidelines, an application guidelines section. This here is really the instructions for filling out the application. So you definitely need to look at this if you're filling it out, because the applications are anonymous, which means that you can't say your name or you can't tell us like personal identifying information that could create a bias when one of the judges is reading the application. And the guidelines here give you instructions on what you can and cannot write. It also gives you instructions on your acronyms and not using acronyms that aren't approved or familiar, and actually writing out the word in like U.S. Department of Agriculture instead of USDA, for example. There are other details here specifically about uploads, which we'll show you a little bit more later. but what kind of information you're going to need to upload or provide whenever you fill out your application. Now, here in the judging section, it basically takes you through the process of what a judge is, how you're going to be judged through the application and the on-farm visit. And it breaks down your point values here so that you can see what points are allocated to and how you're going to be judged. Of course, the prizes are already reviewed because they're on the website that we looked over together. And then I also mentioned that the deadline is November 1st. So this page is really cool, and it's great for you to know that this is here because this is a super helpful tool, but this is a timeline all the way from when the applications are posted to when they're due, when we announce the finalist, when the on-farm judging takes place, when the events happen for the winner, and so on and so forth. So all of that information is available to you on this timeline so that you can kind of know what to expect depending on what phase of the process you are involved in. Now I'm going to go back to the website with you, and let's continue to take a look at the rest of the information that's available to you on the web. The next hyperlink you have here is a sample application. When you click on this, you'll see this is a sample. It's only for your review. You can print it out, you can write on it, whatever you want, but you will not submit this application. The way the applications are submitted is through an online portal. But this is a great way to review what you're going to need to put on your application. After you get through just your personal information, I'm going to go through the sections on the application just so you can know what to expect. There's a personal background section. Then you move on to your agricultural status, where you really begin to break down your operation and your role in the operation. What is the structure of your operation? What is your role in the operation? How much capital do you have invested in it? How much of the decision making are you a part of on that operation? And so this is breaking down specifically what your operation is, how it's organized, and what your role is on that operation. This gives judges an opportunity to kind of paint a picture, big picture of the operation, as well as what your role is. Then you move into your crops, what you're producing, any additional enterprises. If you're running multiple enterprises on in one operation, you have an opportunity to explain that. And also a comparison of your volume of production from year one to your current year. That way you can really show your growth over time and any efficiencies that you may have achieved during that time. You have opportunities to explain the operation, and anything that doesn't fit the mold, there are spaces to do that. Under the part 3 of agricultural, the rest of part 3 of agricultural operation, in part D, you are asked more information about how you got into this business. If it's a family business, if it's something that you never stopped, or maybe you came back to, if it is a business that you started on your own or that you partnered with somebody else on, and you have the opportunity to kind of tell the story of how you got into this business. And you can describe the different related enterprises and kind of their relationship to the core farm overall. As you continue with this section, you can talk about your changes, your expansion, your improvements, improvements in practices, as well as different acquisitions that you have made over time. So as you can tell, you're really putting on paper what your farm is and what you have, what has happened over time, what your involvement in that has been. And you're painting a picture of kind of this, your farm story of growing in your achievement as a farmer. The financial statement is a statement that captures your first year as well as back to 3 years ago. So moving through the application to capture your numbers over a period of time to be able to compare the final year to your first year from when you applied to your first year. This is something that is signed by your loan officer or your accountant and notarized. And so that way the judges can rest assured that you are reporting factual information. There's an opportunity to talk about other sources of income that aren't reported on the financial statement, as well as any unusual situations or problems that may have occurred that may have skewed your finances at some point. You're able to describe that in this section as well. Now, when you get into your goals section, you have an opportunity to talk about what were your goals when you started, and then have you achieved any of those goals, and then what are your future goals? And this is a great section to take a closer look at, wow, where was I and where am I now and where do I want to be in the future? And honestly, in addition to this just being a really incredible experience to participate in the competition, honestly, I think that the experience of reflecting on this and writing these things down is one of the major objectives of this competition, is to help farmers learn, kind of take a pause for a moment, think about what you've been doing, what you are doing, and what you want to do, get it on paper, and it will help you grow as a producer and be more successful in years to come by exercising this whole process of filling out this application. So as you explain your progress of the application, you can talk about how you evaluate, the management of your farm. So how is it that you measure your success? What are the things that you are looking for in order to measure how well your operation is being managed, and how whether you've made progress or whether or not you might need to step back and restart. If you have plans for future expansion or improvements or changes, you can indicate those on this application. And then, of course, talk about your personal goals for the next 5 years related to your job, Farm Bureau, your involvement in Farm Bureau, and in other organizations. So this really starts the path of the application that captures your leadership experiences. So the final portion is about leadership experience. You report on your involvement with Farm Bureau, as well as, that's at the county, state, and or national level. And then also your leadership experience in other organizations that are in the agricultural community, as well as non-agricultural community organizations that you may have been a part of. It's not only leadership roles, but it could be volunteerism, it could be awards, it could be recognitions, it could be something that you have contributed to. There are lots of different ways that you can capture your involvement and your leadership in these sections. Once again, there is a section to be able to describe any situations or circumstances that have affected your leadership experiences. So you kind of see throughout the application that you are able to explain your situation throughout. You're not boxed into just answering a question, but you're able to explain your very specific situation. So if we flip back to the website, you'll see that we do have a help sheet here for instructions for how to use the online application portal. But instead of going to the instructions, what I'm actually going to do is turn it over to Carrie Walker, who is going to show you exactly how to get onto the portal and log in and start an application so that you don't have any questions about that. When she's done with that, I'll talk to you about who you can talk to get help with your application. And then we'll also talk to Sam Hall about his experiences with applying and competing, as well as winning in 2019. I'm sorry, in 2020. What year are we in? In 2020. So Carrie, I'll turn it over to you for the next section.
Thanks. Let me share my screen with you guys. And we'll get started. We have an online application portal. And as she mentioned, we have online instructions here, but we'll just go ahead and take you through it. All right, so you're gonna click on Apply Now and it'll take you to the site. You'll go ahead and create an account your first time logging in. And now this is showing you my login, but what you would need to do is, here, let's log out, see if it'll do that for you. But what you'll need to do when you create an account is you'll have to put in your email, create a password, and of course your first and last name so we know who's applying. So be sure you keep that information locked up, put it in your notes, but go ahead and create a password and your email. And it will take you to the sign up page. Now, because I'm logged in as an admin, you see this yellow up here. That does not apply to you. That's just for me. But you'll go ahead and select your award from this drop-down box. And in this case, we're going to Achievement Award. And it decided it wants to hang up on me, it looks like. But you'll go ahead and go to your Achievement Award. And when that comes up, the first thing that will happen is, let's do this. So when that comes up, I'm going to log in back on the back end as well and try and do it this way. You know when technology doesn't want to work. All right. But it'll take you first through the eligibility, form, and then it'll take you through it'll also take you through, let's just do this and log in as me. And it'll tell me I already have an account, and we'll say yes. And that way we can hopefully, well, it's just catching up. It's just not liking me right now.
Well, I think everybody should know that Carrie is managing our awards programs, and so she logs into this system all the time. And I think that she's probably created about 5 different accounts in order to be able to go in and do what she needs to do. So
I have.
That's why it kind of locks up on her at times.
Yes, I apologize. So you'll see the pop-up at the bottom, and then you put your last name in your county. So since I am in Richland County, that's what I'll put in here. You can also, if you forget the PDF or want to look back at it, the PDF form of the sample application is also available here. But you'll click Save in Advance to go forward. And again, you'll see your eligibility. And also, you'll have to click here to agree that you will represent South Carolina on the national level, as well as attend all of the awesome things that you get to attend. So you just click this box and hit Save in Advance. And again, these are important dates for you to remember. I know Jessica went through a bunch of them, like your on-farm judging will be by December 18th, and different application deadlines. That's a very important section. And as well as the entry form and application guidelines. This is really important when you get into the meat of the application. And then we've also got other things like pictures that you'll need to upload. And then we've got some judges information, and you'll see what the point system looks like. And we've been through the prizes, but this just is another agreement that you've agreed to the above guidelines for the Achievement Award competition. And again, you'll want to click Save in Advance at the bottom. Now you get to the meat of the application. And of course, this first part right here is just for the back end for us. Judges do not see this information. So when you put in your first name and your last name, just remember that's just for our purposes, not the judges. So when you click through here, you can see I've already put in some information saying that I'm applying as a couple. Now, when you apply, you see these red dots mean that that is a required field. So be sure to be going through this carefully and filling in all the required fields. And you'll again start with your personal background, choose your agricultural status, and answer all the questions that go along with those. Next, your agricultural operation and all of those questions. And now to the financial statement, which you saw on the sample, but it is also here for you to upload. So if you need to download it again, it is right here. It is ready for you to fill out and come back and just choose a file on your computer. So you'll just have it, the signatures, scan it in, and attach it just like you would attach, here's a Word document, and just attach it that way. Now, if you make a mistake, you can always remove a file here. So don't worry, you have that opportunity. And again, some questions that go along with your financial statement. Your progress of operation is next with all those questions. Goals, as Jessica mentioned, is very important. And then your leadership experience to kind of round out the application. Now, another PDF that you are document that you will need to upload is the signature page. And this is just something that you sign as well as your county president. So this is very important. Don't forget about it, because if you wait till the last minute and have to find your county president, it gets a little difficult. So go ahead and download this, get your county president or county secretary to sign that for you. And as you can also just remove a file anytime, say you got, again, click the wrong thing, feel free to remove a file. Now here, there are pictures that will be used if you become a finalist. So be sure this is a different upload. So when you upload an attachment here, make sure it's a JPEG, but put a file name in it. So say it's a family farm photo. So make sure you specifically put family farm photo, and it'll help us know which pictures, because it'll have a description that'll help us. This will be used for convention. Now, you have the opportunity to come and do this all at once and hit save and submit here at the bottom, and you're submitted. But I know a lot of people like to come and go, come back and change a couple of things before they save and submit. You can do that even after you submit. You can come back before the deadline and make any changes that you would like. In order to do that, you scroll to the top, and that's where you will find the save and log out button. You see here, the save and log out is different than save and submit. So if you click save and log out, it will save all of your progress. Now, if you're ready to submit, you are down at the bottom, you're ready to go, you're ready to submit. Now, it'll give you this, are you ready to submit? And you say yes. Now it's not letting me go. Well, why is it not letting me go? Well, let's find out. You scroll to the top and you'll see why it isn't letting you go forward. And in my case, it's because I didn't include a couple of phone numbers, it looks like. It happens when you go to submit these things. So don't worry if it doesn't let you go forward. Scroll to the top and see if you have anything that you just didn't fill in. And if you're ready to go, hit save and submit once you've made those changes. And again, you are always able to come back into the system and make any changes you want up until the deadline. I think that about covers all of that. I will hand it back over to Jessica to go over those contacts with you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Carrie. So now you've seen it. You've seen, if you go to the website, scfb.org, click on Wife and Our Contest and select Achievement Award, you can get to all of this information. And we've gone over eligibility, we've gone over the process, the timeline, and we've gone over who is this competition for, and what's on the application. And of course, Carrie just went over what does it look like when you log online in order to actually submit this thing. So after you've seen all of that, the question may be, how do I get this done? And what I recommend is that you work with other people. So it's very, very helpful to reach out to folks who can help you with this. Now, unfortunately, Carrie and I cannot help you with this because whatever we do, we have to help everyone with. We can't help individual competitors out, but we do have staff that can help you. So I'm going to take you back to our website. We're on the Achievement Award page. Go to the top and click on About Us on our website, and then click on Staff Directory. And this will give you all of our staff, but in our organization division, you will find the contact information for all of our district directors. So Coastal, Piedmont, Central, and PD. Now, this is a staff person that we have that is able to help you specifically. They can come to your farm, they can look at your application, they can call on other people to help. They are there to help you. They are a liaison between the state office and the county farm bureaus, and they can help you. They can read your application, give you suggestions, those kinds of things. I strongly recommend that you reach out to former competitors. We have a list that we can provide you of former competitors who have said that they are willing to help current competitors. If you're thinking about applying, or if you're in the middle of filling out your application and you're working on it little by little, I recommend that you reach out to a former competitor and say, hey, would you mind reading my application? Or, hey, I'm working on this one section. What should I put here? Or can you tell me if that's important? You know, those folks are folks who have been through it, and they know the application very well. So I would definitely recommend utilizing that resource. Also, don't shy away from having a family member, a neighbor, a friend from church, or a friend from the baseball team that you know they're a person that maybe they work in editing or they work in banking. Don't shy away from involving other people in your process, asking them if they'd mind giving it a read or whatnot. It's always going to be a lot more helpful if you have another set of eyes take a look at it. You'll turn in your best work if you work alongside of someone else. So just wanted to connect you with how to get in touch with some of our staff that can help you, and also the fact that we have a resource to be able to provide to you that gives you competitor names and contact information so that you can reach out to former competitors and winners and ask them to help you out. Now, in closing, we'd like to turn it over for a minute to Sam Hall, who is our 2020 Achievement Award winner. He knows very well what it's like to fill out this application and also to go through the judging process. So, and meet the judges on farm and just experience the whole thing. So, Sam, I'd love to kind of just ask if you might start out by telling us why you would encourage someone to apply for the Achievement Award.
Well, I'm a big Dabo Sweeney fan, and Dabo talks about the journey and not the destination. So I think the journey was very beneficial to me. You know, we didn't win the first time around, and I think that was probably to our benefit because it allowed the journey to continue, and it still is continuing today. So it's kind of like what you learn about yourself along the way. Writing down the goals was very beneficial to us because it allowed me and my dad to kind of discuss a little bit too, because we're in the business together, and so it allowed us to sit down and talk about where we were when we started and where we were then and now, and where we want to go. So just that alone, win or lose, is so beneficial. I think individually as well as for your farm as well.
Awesome, thanks. Well, I'm really happy to hear you say that, because we do see this competition as an opportunity for people to really grow to be a better farmer, not just to compete to show off being the best, but really more so to show the effort of to be able to grow and to achieve. And so I'm glad that that's been your experience. The other question that I have for you is, what advice would you give to a future South Carolina Farm Bureau Y&R Achievement Award competitor?
I've been thinking about this, and really probably my first thing, well, I guess the first thing is don't try and sit down and do the application in one day or 1 week. You need to sit down and like read the application over and don't fill anything out. And then, so just do it kind of method. At least that's the way I operate. I can't sit down and do something, at least not do it well, because you're going to think about things as the days and weeks go by of something maybe that you need to include. But some other advice would be, I have 3 books that I would recommend. And one is Start With Why by Simon Sinek or something like that. Good to Great by Jim Collins, and Built to Last by Jim Collins. Those were 3 books that I read along the way. And again, it just helped me have a vision about where we wanted to go. And it talks about a lot of those 3 books are nothing, they have nothing to do with farming, but they have a lot to do with running a business, and it has lots of good points, and I think that would be very beneficial. So that's all I've got.
Awesome, that's excellent. Thank you so much. And I think Carrie's putting in the chat some of the URLs to those books as well. So thanks for that, Sam. Great advice. I also wanted to let everybody know that I heard from Dean Hutto, who was our 2019 Achievement Award winner and competed nationally in 2020, in January 2020, along with his wife, Sarah Hutto. And Sarah and Dean are currently serving on the American Farm Bureau Young Farmers and Ranchers Committee. I wanted to share his feedback. He and Sarah are both tied up this evening, but he did send me his responses to the same 2 questions. So first of all, to the question, why would you encourage people to apply for the Achievement Award? And he says, number 1, because the application will let you reflect on where you are with your operation versus where you started. It will also really make you think about the future and how to be a better farmer, business person, Farm Bureau member, and asset to your community. Number 2, farmers do not talk about themselves enough because we don't collectively compile what we've accomplished. The competition and the application allow for that and point out places to focus, improve, and what we need to abandon. Number 3, he says that you can apply as many times as you want and win $1,000 and have a chance at winning a truck. So why not apply? It's a pretty good reason to apply. We also asked him what advice he would give to a future competitor, and he said, do not turn down any opportunity to be involved. So anytime you have the opportunity to be involved, don't turn it down. He said, always think about your goals. So if you plan on competing in this competition this year or in the future, always have your goals in mind, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and keep on kind of stewing on that. And the last tip he said is record what you do. He said, Jessica told me a long time ago to keep a list of the things that I had been involved in, positions I had served on, or opportunities that he had had to speak, you know, especially like during the 2015 flood and other times where he was interviewed a lot. And I told him when that was happening, write these things down, because if you ever compete, it'd be a great opportunity to be able to capture your involvement that, you know, to him is just an everyday thing. That's just, hey, somebody asked to talk to me and I talked to them. Well, that's great, but it was actually an interview for a newspaper, and you can put that on your achievement award application. So if you ever, you know, volunteer to do something or participate in something, log it, keep track of it, not to brag, but to have it readily available whenever it comes along to fill out the application and just make the process easier for you. So I thought all of those were great tips as well, and they kind of aligned a little bit too with what Sam was sharing. Thank you, Sam, for your thoughts there. So what we are wanting to make sure that you can connect with the right people. So I'm going to give you an email address. If you're watching this right now, you can reach out to Carrie Walker at cwalker@scfb.org. She manages our awards program on the back end, and she can get you anything that you need when it comes down to if you need a Word document of the application so that you can type in Word, or if you need the contact information to the former competitors, she can get those to you. So make sure you have her email address and you can reach out to her if you need anything like that. Of course, I'm available for you if you need me, and would be happy to point you in the right direction if there's any guidance. But like I said, reach out to former competitors like Sam and Dean and Jimmy Lee Shaw and Ty Woodard and folks like that who have competed and won this competition. They're very familiar with the ins and outs, and I know that they're all willing to take a look at applications and help you out. So with that, thank you for joining us for the Achievement Award overview session.